Hello, thanks for watching. I'm going to talk about the upcoming full moon, which is on July 3rd, 2023, depending upon the time zones that you're living in. So, so I call this the lunation commentaries. So the new moon is happening in the Gemini-Sagittarius axis with the sun in Gemini and the moon in Sagittarius. So this is an interesting new moon because straight away it promises to be something that is a little bit more than what it was before. Because as a human race, we have come across so many things since the COVID from the end of 2019, and after that we've been facing this war situation across the world, and then things have been pretty much up and down as a result of both these things. So now, like at an individual level, different people have faced different experiences. So the idea that this new moon presents is a little bit more promising than what we have seen over the past few months or maybe a year as well, because Mars has finally moved out of Cancer, like after almost 2 month stay there, maybe 45 to 50 days, and that was a very emotionally draining period and also physically draining period. So energy and desire levels have always been questionable. So it's been a very tricky ride as far as at least the past 2 months are concerned. So as you might know, I cast a chart for a specific moment when the astrological event occurs. So during the exact full moon moment, so I cast a chart for this exact full moon moment, and we have Scorpio rising. So basically, with Scorpio rising, Mars in the early 10th house of Leo, and 10th house is a good position for Mars. Mars gains directional strength, but it does not really come without conflict, because we know Mars in the 10th house kind of brings a little bit of conflict and shows extremely passionate amount of desire towards something, and we are all going towards that particular impulsive passion, and also high levels of energy with desire, because it's also the fire sign. And to kind of slow us down, I think nature has played a trick by putting the sun in the 8th house of Gemini. So Mars is received by the sun through its sextile aspect, but still there's going to be a little bit of slowdown and little bit of we need a little bit more vision clarity in terms of moving forward. So now I'll just do a basic chart analysis and see where it takes us. So as we know, Scorpio rises during this new moon, and Mars is placed in the 10th house, and suddenly things seem to be back to normalcy or normal pace in terms of the speed in our lives. So, but still the burden is kind of there, as I said, because of the 10th ruler sun in the 8th house. But the thing is that sun is placed with Gemini and Mercury is in Gemini. So Mercury is receiving sun in this conjunction. Although Mercury is burnt and combust, this dignity kind of surely works. And the desire is very strong with Mars in the 10th house. So we are all kind of looking forward to some kind of action. But again, it is bound to be impulsive. So what I'm saying is, like, let's not get carried away by the promise that we see straight away. So I don't think this is the time to get carried away. So this is, as I said in my Saturn retrograde video also, so this is the time to kind of try and lie low and review and reassess and analyze things, rather than kind of taking a sudden shift of gears in terms of moving forward, or going along with where we were actually thinking of going for a very long time. And so the thing is, like, just slow down, look at things with more clarity, and try to do things in a more rationalistic manner, because Mercury is going to help in terms of being rationalistic, precisely because it is dignified at this point of time in Gemini. So, and Venus is in the 9th house of Cancer in Gandanta. Venus in Cancer is double dosage of emotions. With Mars there, it was kind of really ugly reasons or difficult reasons for emotions, but I don't think that is going to continue. But still, I think there is scope for that because of the fact that Venus is placed in this Gandanta, that is towards the end of a water sign, making its transition into the fire sign. So and this is basically Ashlesha nakshatra, and it's a Sarpa nakshatra. So although it's a Satvika nakshatra, it is Sarpa nakshatra, and it kind of puts this it's necessary to kind of throw this wind of caution, especially when it comes to relationships. So we might end up making emotional decisions when it comes to relationships, and with Venus very late in the sign in Gandanta, it is supposed to be it might be vulnerable. So it is little weak and it might be vulnerable. So we might give into emotions, but more importantly, we might end up giving into lust. So which might lead to some very dangerous consequences. So Venus is squared by the nodes by whole signs. So it's not necessary that Venus is far off from the nodal square that is in Kendras from Rahu and Ketu. That is still it's far off from when we consider it from a degree point of view, but still by whole signs the square still exists, and it is not really advisable to kind of give into emotions. So we need to kind of keep our emotions under control, and we need to kind of understand that we are vulnerable as human beings for various things that are going on in our life, especially in terms of lust. I think man is vulnerable, and lust has always been existent. So there is nothing to qualify it as right or wrong, but ultimately it is going to kind of have some negative impact, especially most of us are in relationships, and we don't want to kind of get into any kind of something that is not righteous. So any act that is not righteous at this point, it is going to be detrimental. That's what I'd like to point out, because Saturn is also retrograde and Venus is in Sarpa nakshatra. So even if not now, Venus will go retrograde by I think July 24th. So it's important to kind of make sure that we are on this path of righteousness, and we are not into this path of giving away into lust. So we need to be strong and true to our relationships. That's what I want to emphasize here. And scandals might start coming out, but we want to make sure that the scandal is not about us. So it's important to kind of keep away from limelight and just be honest and truthful to both ourselves and our loved ones. So I mean, the reason why I'm pointing all this out is it is easier to go wayward and lose our respect. But as I pointed out, Saturn's retrograde is all about kind of, pulling back the respect or the boundaries that we let go away from us. But we should make sure that we kind of hold on to that, and we don't give in to emotions, because this is we might have all this access to things that might promise to lead us astray, and it is necessary to kind of hold on to the path and be on the right side of the things as far as the path of our life is concerned. Mercury ruling the 8th and the 11th house is actually placed in the 8th house of Gemini, and this is really a good period for transformations, because talking about things and communicating things in the right way and sharing things in the right way whenever it is necessary, and to kind of try and understand what we need in our lives, rather than what we want in our lives, is really important. So with the strong Mercury, it is the right time for us to kind of look out for some rationalism and straighten our lives, and maybe we'll put some of the ambiguity behind that we were having over the past few months, because of this dignity that Mercury is having at this point. So this is the time where we need to kind of uphold and live with enough righteousness, and we will get enough clarity in our lives, and we need to move forward with conviction that the clarity that we have in our lives at this point is going to help and make us much more stronger. So there will be some kind of professional inclination at least a step forward in terms of our professional success. Although for some people it might not necessarily be an actual success, but I think a major step forward is surely on the cards. So something is going to turn out beneficial in the future, but it is important for us to hold on to the path and the path of dharma that we are really stressing about here. And Jupiter ruling the second and the fifth houses is placed in the sixth house of Aries with Rahu, nodal axis. It indicates that we are going to fight hard, and we have to fight hard. There is no easy way out of this. So, things will be a little shaky, but I think ultimately we will end up, taking this path that we ought to take, so for our own betterment. So and as far as this financial situation and income is concerned, there is a little bit of a shakiness and the downward trend that we are looking at, but it doesn't mean that there is a major destabilization across the road that we are taking. But it might kind of shake us a little bit, which might prove to be a minor hurdle, considering the things that we may look forward in the near future. So we may just have to tighten our seatbelts. It's not a major deep destabilization. We don't need to get out of the car. Just tighten your seatbelts and believe and enjoy the ride that you have already embarked upon. So and creativity seems to be there. And the good news is that the moon is placed in the second house of Sagittarius. And the full moon, there is this culmination of all these things. The idea of the creative juices are flowing, and as I said, family and finance, because of this moon's placement in the second house from the ascendant of this new moon chart. So family and finance is going to be a major theme that is going to revolve around for this fortnight, and probably even more. So we can expect a lot of realizations during this period, and once the reality sinks in, life will take a subtle change, and we would be far from rejecting the natural course of life that we have taken. So there will be realizations in terms of finance, there will be realizations in terms of family stuff, and everything is going to slowly fall in place. But I think at this point, as I pointed out earlier, the idea of staying on the path is much more important, because there will be so much of diversions and things that kind of will end up putting us away, or might tempt us to take a different direction. But I think that is the nature of this period, with Saturn going retrograde and Venus about to go retrograde, and it's in the end of Cancer in Gandanta. So all these things are really possible, but we need to kind of hold our ground. And Saturn in the fourth house of Pisces kind of shows this unnecessary stress in the domestic environment. So we might expect some tough experiences with relatives or even close family members. Some of us might be looking to move to a new place of living, or some of us might actually end up renovating the place where we live in, or kind of modify some of the things that we have at home. Maybe modify the tables or furnitures, or push the TV aside, or kind of switch the light from one place to another to have better change or something like that. Or maybe move your indoor plant from one place to another. So all these things are very much possible. So if you are into Vastu, try to hire a Vastu consultant and see what you can kind of modify according to your own beneficial cause. So see, all these things are not necessarily fruitful or beneficial, but in some ways we might not have a choice as well. So things might be forceful, and we may have to make the change whether we like it or not. So that is there. And another thing is like this Saturn and Mars opposition. It's like there will be some kind of stress. It promises stress, because Saturn Mars opposition, or some kind of Saturn Mars thing, will always promise stress or confrontations, or difficult confrontations, or ugly confrontations. Sometimes it might end up turning into an ugly argument or a physical fight, but we don't want that to happen. So because of these difficulties, it might happen both at work and home. As I said, difficult domestic situations inside the family or with close relatives, in the family. So all these are kind of minor, but it is important to kind of not give in to emotions. So emotions play a major role, right? So just hold and make sure that you don't let your emotions outside. So that is one of the things. And maybe this particular fortnight is a precursor of the entire Saturn's retrograde period and Venus' retrograde period that is just about to come. Saturn's is already in progress, but Venus's period is just about to come. So maybe all this is just a precursor. So the nature is trying to put us into some practice or proxy rounds so that we are ready for the actual show. So travel needs attention. Travel is going to need attention if you have planned travel because of fatigue or difficult experiences or bitter experiences that I just said in terms of family or professional, in the family or in the professional setup. So it might also turn out to be a period of emotional submissiveness, precisely because of Venus's placement, and Mars has just moved into Leo. So we might end up confronting easily, and we might kind of take this eye off the ball. So let's ensure that does not happen. And Venus goes retrograde towards the end of July, and I say it is important to kind of stay true to our existing relationships. So I've emphasized this point more than I wanted to. So I hope things fall in place for you. And but the thing is, like, it is important to hold and control our impulsiveness, so that it's essential to be true to everyone in our life. I mean, everyone in the sense, we don't need to be falseful to anyone, but at least for our close members, we can remain truthful. So that's what I'm saying. Just honesty is not a very difficult thing to ask. So some of us might have already taken the path that the not so righteous path. So it is important for you to come back. But unfortunately, if you've already made the choice, maybe you are bound to the results. But if you have not yet made that choice of changing your path from the right one to the not so right one, it is essential for you to kind of ensure that the moment we make a choice, we are bound to the results. And most of the time, it's just one. So let's make sure that we are not straying from where we need to travel. So a lot of these analysis might change based on the natal charts, and this is just a generic idea of the times that we are living through. And for some people it might make sense, for some people it might be a little bit ambiguous. So I think it's important for you to kind of assess your chart and try to get yourself an astrologer, or if you want to kind of have personalized analysis, you can feel free to reach out to me through my consultations page of my website, which is www.theabverdict.com. And I think that's all I have to say today. So thank you so much, and see you next time.